Echo, turn on the Aurora.
Okay.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Jordan, back with another video, and in this video I want to talk about a highly requested topic. I want to talk about the most important books that I have read that have impacted my life in a positive way and changed the whole entire course of it. I'm going to give you a brief rundown of what's inside of those books, why I decided to read those books, and the benefit that I got from reading it. Reading is one of the best habits that you can pick up, and thankfully I have gone through tons and tons of self-help and personal development books. So I'm going to give you guys what I think are the 3 fundamental books that any entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur should hop into and read cover to finish. If you like the quality of my content, hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. Also, if you're interested in growing your e-commerce business, click the link in the description below to join my free Facebook group. There are over 1,500 entrepreneurs in there, and I am always in there helping you guys trying to succeed with your business. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. I'm going to go over these books in the order that I believe that you should read them in, and I think it's really important that you follow this because I have read all of these books, and in my opinion, reading them in this order is going to provide you the most amount of value. So the first book, and one of the most important books that I have ever read in my life, is a book by somebody called MJ DeMarco, and I read a lot of books on my iPad. So the first book is called the Millionaire Fastlane. I'm going to put the link to all these books in the description. So basically, the Millionaire Fastlane is the book that I read that made me understand that I could make wealth and become rich in my lifetime. Granted, I'm not wealthy, I'm not rich by any means yet, I'm not even close to that, but I understand now that I'm more close to that goal than I ever have been before. Anyways, the Millionaire Fastlane basically breaks down what it takes to make wealth in this internet generation. It doesn't say, oh, you just have to think about it and you're gonna wake up and be rich the next day. This dude really breaks it down, and he talks about the grind and the process that it took for him to become wealthy in his life. He basically goes through, he tells his story about how he made his millions, and then he breaks down on how you can do the same thing. When I first picked up the book, I saw the cover of a Lamborghini. I'm thinking, okay, it's just one of those self-help books. But no, this book is a must-read for any entrepreneur. Point blank, I don't care, hands down. Even if you don't like to read, you should put your face into this book and force yourself to finish all the way through. Before you pick up any self-help book or any other book, I highly recommend that the Millionaire Fastlane is the first book that you pick up. I would say that that book is the one that completely transformed my life and made me understand that I am going to become rich in my lifetime. MJ also has another book that came out, and it's called Unscripted, and I really suggest that you would read that as well. You could read them both, to be honest. That dude really knows how to write, and he's really straight to the point in what he says. There's no BS in that book. That book gets straight to the point, and he says what needs to be said and what I need to hear at the time. The Millionaire Fastlane is the first book of the 3 that I recommend, and I highly suggest that you pick it up and dive into it. The Millionaire Fastlane is definitely worth reading because that book covers the fundamentals of the work and what you have to do to become wealthy and successful in your life. But it sort of falls lacking on one aspect, and that aspect is talking about the steps to take to build the proper habits to become wealthy or successful in your life in general. This book right here, called The Power of Habit, is an essential read for any entrepreneur or anybody who is just trying to improve in areas of their life. It was after I read this book that I realized that a lot of the things that I was doing during my day were a waste of time, and 2, not providing me value in the areas that I wanted to improve upon. This book breaks down the science behind habits. It breaks down how to take the bad habits in your life and transform them into good habits. And on top of this, it talks about an important topic that I talked about in one of my other videos called keystone habits, which are essentially habits that trickle down and change everything else in your life. And the example that I used in my last video was waking up early and going to the gym, things like that. The Power of Habit is a must read, and I highly suggest, if you haven't read it yet, you definitely get into it, because you will be surprised to know all of the habits that you're doing in your life unconsciously that you're not even aware of. And once you start to change those habits, the results will be huge. Habit building is something that I'm really passionate about, so that's why I put that book at number 2 on the list. I said that I only wanted to do 3 books, but 2 more came to mind. So we're gonna get into the 3rd one, and then the 4th one is awesome, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. But this 3rd book is one that you've probably heard of, and you may have even read it yourself, but I definitely think I need to include it in this video because I believe it's fundamental reading for anybody who wants to have massive success in their lifetime. The 3rd book I had in mind is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I put this book last on the list to read because here's what happens with a lot of people. And I've seen this with my friends firsthand. They've picked up this book, they've read this book, and what they do is all this self-actualization, all this planning, and all this focus. But then they never, ever start working and putting in the grind and doing the things that they need to do to be successful. That's why those other 2 books are essential to read first, so you can understand the time investment that actually goes into being successful. Think and Grow Rich is an incredible book for developing the proper mindset for success and for understanding how you can become self-confident, and that confidence will show in your quality of work. I definitely recommend that you guys read Think and Grow Rich. It's a classic book, and it's a pretty entertaining book to read as well, but make sure that you don't make that the only book that you can read, because I've seen it firsthand. People will read that book and never get anything done. So Think and Grow Rich, definitely look into it, but read the other 2 books first, and you'll see why once you start to make some money. This final book is the one that hands down had the greatest impact on my life out of any piece of content that I've ever consumed in my entire life. This last book that I want to talk about is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And let me tell you, before reading this book, I was unaware of the state of mind that I was always living in. It was always, I would walk through the day, and every single time I'm walking, I'm looking at somebody and I'm in my head judging them. I'm thinking about what they're saying. Or I'm sitting at my computer and my brain is running a million miles a minute, and I'm never really focused on what is going on in front of me. Maybe in little spurts throughout the day when I'm really happy or really frustrated, am I really all the way in tune to what's going on? But I learned that 95% of the day I was not present and I was not actively doing what I should have been doing at the moment. That Power of Now book was the window that opened up my eyes to seeing that I was living with an unhealthy state of consciousness. That book breaks down what most people go through in their head from a day to day, and it also breaks down how you can begin to be more present in your day-to-day life. Now, when you hear it, it might sound a little crazier, it might sound like some hippie stuff, but that is not the case. I really suggest that you guys dive into this book, because I read this book 1 year ago, and everybody who asked me, hey, what's your favorite book? Everybody who asked me, hey man, can you share a good book for me to read? I always recommend that book, because reading that book has changed my life. I've read it about 5 or 6 times, and I also have the physical copy as well, but I have it loaned out to a friend. I actually have 2 physical copies that I've given out to friends because I really like sharing the knowledge that that book has. I don't want to spoil it for you. I gave you the gist of what you can see inside of that book there. It's not about religion. It's not about anything like that. It's about being present and enjoying the moments that we have every single day. And what you're going to find is that your work, your life, and your relationships are going to be significantly more fulfilling overall. That book is incredible, and I highly suggest that you give it a try. But yeah, guys, those are some of my favorite books. I have read many more books, and if you want me to make book reviews or talk more about the books that I've read, let me know in the comments below, and I can make another video down the line. But these are the fundamental books. If you haven't read any self-help or entrepreneurship books, those are the books that you need to dive into and read first. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it provided you any value, give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and if you enjoyed them. I appreciate you guys for sticking all the way to the end, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.